Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
I got to tell you, we originally had planned to have this awesome trio around the dining room table today called the Three of Hearts, with Kim McLean and Eve Sellis and Randi Driscoll. They're amazing together, but also separately, they're just amazing artists and songwriters. And things happen, life happens, and we're going to do it. I swear. We are definitely going to have Three of Hearts.
You better believe it. We can't wait.
But Randi Driscoll is here.
One heart. You get one heart.
I get one heart. Oh, my God.
You get a third.
That's the only thing you need is one heart, right?
And it helps that we're neighbors, so
it does.
It's easy for me to get over here in 10 minutes. I'm so happy to see you, though.
God bless you. Thank you for coming over.
No, the girls have so much. My sister hearts have so much going on right now. Busy time for them, and I know that they're looking forward to it. And I'm not quite sure that you're ready for when the three of us get together. I mean, you're going to need. Do you have a 3-hour podcast scheduled? Because we like to talk and we like to sing and we like to be together and laugh. So
I'll tell you what, that would be fine with me. That's the nice thing about podcasts. I don't worry about time.
I know.
I really don't.
No, we can't wait to be with you. But I'm happy to be here today. It's so good to see you, Dave.
You have got so much going on, Randi. Let me tell you about Randi. It's been 2 years now since your first appearance on this show. Can you believe that?
No,
it was November of 2021.
No.
It was, yeah. Wow. And I was listening to that. I was out for a walk, and I was listening to that podcast, and I'm like, I gotta have Randi back on. Got to, because she's doing so many things. Now, Randi is an award-winning singer-songwriter, performs all over the world. I mean, everywhere. In fact, this weekend, big show that we're going to talk about in New York City. We're recording this, I should tell you, the first week in October for a November release. So that will have happened by the time that this publishes, but it won't stop us from talking about it because it's a big deal. She's an actress. She hosts the very popular Randi's Revival. You got your hat on today. I've got a Randi's Revival hat. I love wearing that thing.
I love it too.
At the Cambria Hotel, which is on 8th Avenue in downtown Nashville. If you're here, it's two Mondays a month, right?
Yes, second and fourth Monday. Yep.
Second and fourth. So if you're in town, that is really I think it's the classiest, best. I'm a little biased. Writers round in all of Nashville. You just stacked the talent in there, girl.
I'm really lucky. We just have, incredible talent. You've been so lovely to bless us with your talent and bringing in your rounds for us too with your friends. But yeah, the stage is always filled. What I like to say is there's so much talent in Nashville, and there's there's so much music. From the moment you step off the plane, you're just like hearing incredible music, and no one can believe the talent, right? But what I try to do on top of that is a couple things. I try to bring a lot of diversity to the night. So a lot of people come here and think, well, is it just going to be country music I'm going to hear? And you very well know that it's not just country here, and it's everything. So I try to do that. And then I always say that I'm super blessed because I get to bring a lot of people with great hearts. Their hearts match their talent, and I think that's really true. And I think it resonates with the audience.
It does.
Because the comments that we get are, we came in, we didn't know what we were coming to, and we stayed because we love the music, we love the stories behind the song, which is so much of it. Mm-hmm. And then they just love seeing this camaraderie and feeling the vibrations of like love for music, love for humanity coming out from the stage. And I'm really building on that because I think it's really special. So
it is, and I love how occasionally, people will join you on stage.
It's just awesome.
And sing.
It's just awesome.
Wow.
I know. I say I'm sort of like in A Secret Life. I'm a casting director because you've been there for some of the nights where I will sort of see someone in the audience that I know has a particular talent, and there might be someone else there, and this person plays guitar, this person really shreds. Wow, the vocals on this. Could you get on stage for a second? Could I put you two together for a minute? You've never met, but could you sing something? It's those magical moments that people love because they sort of can't believe you were there the night that Shar and Lily.
I was just thinking about that. Shar, it was Lily?
Yes. Lily from Smoky Nights and Shar were both there, both of them playing separately. And I had them come up to sort of do like a finale.
Had never sung
together, but I know them both, and I know both of their vocals. And I just thought in my mind if they'd go for this. Well, there was a guy there that night. He wound up tipping them, I think, pretty well. But he came up to me. He was really aggravated afterwards, and he said, "Okay, I want to say something." He goes, "That was wonderful. Those two can sing. Phenomenal talent." He said, "But I'm sure that was rehearsed." first. There's no way. I said, no, sir, I'm telling you, they've never met till this evening. He said, I don't believe you. I said, so I brought them over, and they admitted, no, this
They hadn't
happened.
really met. They
had not met.
No.
So it's those kind of nights where people just jump up, people feel comfortable. I'll have people that come in from out of town, and they'll say, I'm here for a few days. Could I get up? I'll say, come on up, do something. And it's just a chance for people to experience new talent and, make community. You understand from hosting these yourself that a lot of it's about, just finding your people, finding your crew. And it's something that I'm very thrilled to be doing it in that beautiful space.
And I don't know about you, but what I've learned too, if I got talent in that room that came by, and they weren't scheduled to play, but they're there, I got to take advantage of it.
I do too. I try to grab them. Yeah. And if they really don't want to, I understand. Sometimes you do just kind of want to be a listener.
Right.
But if they have any inkling to get up on stage, I usually leave my seat and I let them come on up. So it's super cool. Yeah.
We had that with the lead singer of Survivor.
Incredible.
A young guy in there, Cameron Barton. And we had him on the podcast.
Amazing.
Like, hey, do you want to sing a song?
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, there you go. That's Music City. And it's fun and it's good for everyone. It's good. And my writer's night is special in that it is another night that's in a hotel, right? So a lot of the people are tourists and they're coming in from all over and they don't know what they're going to see, but man, those moments blow them away. They just kind of can't believe it. There's nothing like live music. There's nothing like
really isn't. And you've met people from all over the world doing that.
All over the world, yes. Yeah. And people come back. We have a crew of flight attendants now.
Do you?
Yes, they come because I finally recognized them after a few nights, and I just went over to the table. I said, I know you've been here before. And they were like, yeah, we're flight attendants, and we always make sure that we stop, and we're at this hotel on this night. I just thought that was awesome. Yes, if we're your layover, that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely amazing. So you got a real loyal following there. That's a great night. It really is. Randy's Revival.
Yes.
And Cambria Hotel.
True Music Room. Second and fourth Monday. Come on down.
It's on the 5th floor, if I do remember.
Yeah, beautiful room.
Yeah, I love doing that. It's one of my favorite ones to play. Love that room. Love the people and the vibes that you bring in. And Randy, you are very much a part of that. You come in and you sing a song or two and sing along with us, which we just love. Yeah. You're just an amazing performer.
Thank you.
I have to tell you, this weekend we were flipping around trying to find a movie to watch, and we came across the Matthw Sheparard story. And I knew that you were very involved in the life in his foundation.
Yes.
So I thought, I'd heard about Matthw Sheparard and a little bit about what he went through, but I thought I'm going to watch this because I want to find out more. And we watched it, and we went through about a half a box of Kleenex, right?
Yeah.
A very touching story. And at the very end of this movie, while they're rolling the credits, along comes Randi Driscoll with this wonderful song that you wrote called What Matters. And so that was one of the main things I wanted to talk to you about on this podcast today. So tell me about that song and how you got involved with the Matthw Sheparard Foundation. Yeah. And you may want to tell the story. Folks are not familiar.
It's very true. Well, it's coming up on this October is the 25th anniversary.
It's hard to believe.
It's incredibly hard to believe for many reasons of Matthew's passing. And the film that you saw was the one of the many Matthw Sheparard stories, but this one was the film that was done with Stockard Channing,
right?
Sam playing, playing Matt's mom and dad, and
tremendous actors.
Yeah. So what happened with Matthw Sheparard is in 1998, Matt was killed in a hate crime that happened in Wyoming, and Matt was killed because of who he chose to love and the way that he loved, and he was brutally murdered.
It was brutal.
And I think it's important to mention that it's not to sort of focus on the violence of the crime, but also there's no use in sugarcoating what happened. It's just another way that we
tied him to a fence.
Yes.
And
left
beat the
him.
crap out of him.
Yes. And it was two young men that perpetrated the crime, which is even sadder when you really think about it.
It really is.
It was violent. It was awful, and it eventually took his life several days later in the hospital. So it was a gay biased hate crime. That happened. And at the time, a young songwriter living in San Diego, California, just sort of finding my craft and figuring out, it was like barefoot hippie playing in coffee shops at the time, trying to, writing about whatever was on my mind. I saw this story on the news. I saw it on the TV, and I remember specifically seeing Judy and Dennis outside in the rain, holding an umbrella. And
his mom and dad.
Judy and Dennis Sheparard. And I just remember thinking, this is horrifying, and I couldn't believe that this had happened. It was shocking and scary and sad to me, and all of the emotions that you run through. And seeing a young person, another young person be murdered for something senseless like this, that violence, wasn't just about hate speech, but this was about an act of violence.
And that was before any hate laws hit the book.
Wow, yeah.
Hate crime laws.
Correct. Yeah. And I'll tell you, and that's an important part of the whole story, yes. So, no, and so I didn't know what to do. I ran into my bedroom, I ran into my where my keyboard was, and I thought, okay, so I'm feeling something, I will turn this into song. It's a form of self-therapy, self-soothing, and I also thought at the time, I want to send them a condolence card, maybe I'll put this on a little tape, I'll let them know. And so this often happens with songs, as you can attest to. 45 minutes later, a song came out, which, I'm sure was from a higher power as well. And it was a song not so much about Matt's death, but I always say that I really think it was a song about his life, a song about unconditional love, and a song about his parents and just their family. And it was called What Matters. It really, the lyrics of the song really focus on how we are so much more alike than we are different, right? And all of the things that just make us part of the human race. And it seems so simple, and yet I'm not sure why it isn't. And so it was really, that was sort of going to be the end of the story with this song, is that I would just send it to them. I didn't know them at the time. A lot of people wonder if maybe we'd met. We had not met at all. And a few nights later, I was performing at a coffee shop in San Diego. And just out of nowhere, I closed my eyes and I thought, I'm gonna play this song. I'm gonna just say a few words about Matt. And maybe people have seen it on the news. Maybe they know what happened to this young man, and I'm going to sing this song. And I did. Mm-hmm. And when I opened my eyes, I had my eyes closed because I couldn't remember the lyrics. And when I opened my eyes, all of these people had come into this little area in like a Borders, Borders music and coffee shop. And they were holding one another and they were crying. And it was very, very apparent to me that Matt's story had crossed divides, and people were all grieving this senseless death. And I like to say, I'm keenly aware that this was not the first hate crime. Unfortunately, it's also not been the last, but it was gaining a lot of attention, and people were outraged and horrified and saddened at this kind of hatred, and that it could take a young life like this. And there was a woman in the crowd, her name was Dana Leewood. She came up to me and she said, I truly think you should record this song. Can you record it? Will you record it? And I said, no, this is private. She said, no, please think about it. And she kept calling and calling and calling. And she was leaving messages for me. And finally she said, I have studio time. I won some studio time. She was a songwriter herself. She said, I want to give it to you. So I thought about it. And I said, okay, how can we do this? And I said, well, maybe if we can release it as a benefit single. Sort of like, We Are the World It. And sort of like make it a charity, the thing. I wonder if there's any way we can do that. We recorded it. The musicians donated their time. I sang the track. And we released it on a little benefit CD. And what I really, it's marvelous and miraculous and crazy telling the story now, because this was at a time 25 years ago when you could record a song on a single and sell that little CD. Yeah. And we sold that little CD out of the trunk of my car, we sold it everywhere. Wow. For $10, $5 on subways, at festivals, at colleges, you name it. And, with the intention being that all of the money would go to a foundation started by Judy and Dennis, the Matthw Sheparard Foundation, started in Matt's name. Mm-hmm. At that time, I did write a letter to the Shepards, and I did include the song. And Judy asked me if I would be willing to come out and meet with her Easter the following year, like 1999. We met on Easter Sunday.
Were they still living in Wyoming at the time?
They have always lived in Wyoming. Yeah. They've never left.
Well,
and yes.
In the movie, they were living in Saudi Arabia for a while.
Oh, well, that's true. No. That's true. But yes, they're home based. Correct.
Always been Wyoming.
Yes, always. And yes, they have lived overseas. Absolutely. And that's where they were living at the time that Matthew was killed.
Okay, so you fly out to Wyoming to meet them?
So I fly out to Wyoming. Man. I meet them on Easter Sunday. It was during the beginning trial, one of the trials for one of the two young men.
Oh, boy. And which that movie really focused in on that trial. mean,
well, yeah, and there have been several movies, and I'm wondering, were the angels in that movie?
Yes.
Did angel action get represented?
Yes.
Right. So I was actually there that day. We saw them walking
You were
down the
there
street
that day.
when the angel. Yeah, I was in a car. I was in a parked car, and Kathy Renna, who was at the time doing a lot of, she was PR for the foundation, and she's a dear friend of ours, and she's actually part of the reason I got to meet with Judy and have moments with her. But she told us about this, and she was trying to explain it, that there's going to be these group of organizers there, and they're very angry, and they're going to say some very hateful things, and they're going to be holding up these terrible signs that say horrible things. But on the other side, there's going to be this group of angels, and they're going to have these enormous wings, and they're going to make a circle. And I'm thinking, this sounds crazy. And wouldn't you know, we were sitting in the car, and we saw the angels walking down.
They did that so
happened.
well in the movie.
And
They really
it's depicted in a lot of different things. They talk about it in the Laramie Project. So so I met with Judy, and we listened to the song, and later they endorsed it as far as it allowing it to be a benefit single for the foundation, and all of that started my journey with them. But in truth, what began was a dear friendship that started back then. I met Judy and Dennis and Logan, Matt's brother.
Okay.
And Marlo, Logan's partner. So it just it when I talk about it now, it's so different, because back then I had an idea of what this family was. I had a sense of who they were. I had a sense of Matt's love from his parents and their bond as brothers and
we're
father
very close too.
Right. So I had that sense. But now, fast forwarding 25 years later, when they're all my dear friends, it's like, well, I was right. They were every bit as loving and wonderful and brave and funny and, caring. They're all the things. But they were thrust in a position that no parent should ever be thrust into.
Absolutely.
And they took this tiny, tiny moment of grief and sorrow, and they turned it into a movement. They turned it into, this foundation that started just simply because their son had been killed and they were trying to figure out something to do, has turned into a massive, massive movement. Judy and Dennis are tireless. They speak all over the world. They speak about hate speech. They speak about bullying. They speak about rights. They speak about social justice. They are one of the very, very important reasons that we have the laws that you were just talking about with the family of James Byrd. They were responsible for getting those hate crime legislation passed. That's Judy and Dennis that did that. Yes. And so they've never given up, and they're still fighting the good fight. Not a day goes by that they're not doing it, because of the love for their son. But the thing that always has inspired me about them is that they're just truly, truly trying to make sure that what happened to their son doesn't happen to another child. And really, when I sort of peel back now that I'm a mother, I wasn't a mother when I did any of this. I just think of the idea that someone's bias or someone's hatred or bigotry or othering of another person for whatever reason, to then turn that into words, to then turn that into violence, to then turn that into murder, that is remarkable. It's hard to fathom, and it is. It's just, we have to, when I first got with the foundation, they used to say all of the time, hate is a learned behavior. You're not born hating. You're not born hating anyone. You learn it. And so it's time to unlearn it, right? We have to not teach hate. And so that's just been
politics aside, it seems to be back in fashion today.
It is.
And and it's sad.
Yes, and that's the thing about still talking about Matt. A lot of people, you're right, it's really true, Dave. A lot of people don't know Matt's story, either because it's been such a long time.
Which is part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast.
I know it is, and I have to be honest, I was so moved when you called and you said you wanted to talk about this, because, you'd think, well, it was 25 years ago, are we really talking about this? And it's true. Many, 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 unfortunately, horrific crimes of hate have happened. And I think that's the problem, is that right now it does feel like there is a bubbling of hatred under the surface, over the surface, above the surface. And my thing that I've been saying on a lot of some of the interviews that I've been doing lately is I really find myself saying, if it goes unchecked, that's a real problem. And the people that know that it's incorrect, and the people that know that this is dangerous, this language is dangerous, that not the people that are allowing it to happen have to start speaking up. We have to, in whatever means, however that means, we have to speak up, because it's a scary time right now, and we certainly don't want to go backwards and see hatred take over. So.
You know what? On the positive side, I always felt that music could be the thing that heals us, that brings us together.
I feel
because it always has in the past.
I feel that way too.
Yeah. So you've got a mission in what you're doing, don't you?
Yeah. I say sometimes that music has a way to sort of speak to people when words can't, or yelling can't, or speaking at someone can't, because music can reach you on a soul level. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I've been singing this song for a long time, and I have saved folders of letters from people who have heard the song, and they will... even if something in them does not allow them to completely, like maybe they wouldn't write, I agree 100% with everything that you're saying. There's something about the song that will make them stop and think. Or they will say, I choose love, like my girl, Eve and Kimmer and I are always singing about that. I choose to live on the side of love, and I'm going to explore whatever that means. And I think that's something that music can do. It can reach people. And then I truly have had people who have heard the song and really had sort of an awareness where, like, wait a minute, why am I hating other people? Why am I othering other people? Why am I marginalizing? This makes no sense. And I think there is something about music that sometimes wakes you up, wakes your senses up.
I think so too. And I know that you have a deep emotion to you, and I think that's what makes you an amazing songwriter and performer. So I'm just picturing that 25 years ago, that young lady who's playing in coffee shops, just so touched by this story that has to get out and let that emotion out. And it led to this wonderful song, huh? Do you remember how it started?
How the song started, or how I started writing the song?
Yeah.
Just going into my room and thinking that I wanted to capture the idea that we were all under the same moon, that we were all under the same.
Noodle it along then?
I did. Yeah. I did. I started doing a little bit of playing and trying to get the chords under it, and it came fast.
Let's hear it, and then I want to talk more, because it's 25 years later, and there's exciting things happening with this song. So we're going to talk about first. Let's hear it, okay? Randy's got her rolling piano here around the dining room table, or Duncan Fife, and this is Randi Driscoll, our guest on the Songwriter Connection. It's a great song.
You were the brightest angel heaven had ever seen. You walked in with a story to tell, and 10,000 tongues to scream. And you said, doesn't your heart beat the same as mine? Haven't I told you 1,000 times? And isn't the air in my lungs the same air you breathe? So who cares whose arms I'm all wrapped up in? Who cares whose eyes I see myself in? Who cares who I dream of? Who cares who I love? And heaven help me, for I am lost. What a price my love did cost. But here I am standing strong, and I am free. And didn't we share the same sunrise and sleep in the same moonlight? Tell me, yes, isn't the blood in my veins the same blood you bleed? So who cares whose arms I'm all wrapped up in? Who cares whose eyes I see myself in? Who cares who I dream of? Who cares who I love? When I die, when they lay place that brings you all around. Just look at it, bring us all around. And tell me, doesn't my mother cry like everyone? My father grieve for his lonely son. But isn't my rainbow a little brighter because? So who cares whose arms I'm all wrapped up in? Who cares whose eyes I see myself in? Who cares who I dream of? No, it doesn't matter who I dream of. In the end, it only matters that I was loved, and we are all loved. Love has no face. Love has no face. Love has no face. Who cares who I love?
Song is what matters. It's an important song for us today. So much I want to say, but we're going to take a break. Let you dry your eyes a little bit. Randi Driscoll, the writer and performer of that song, is our guest on the podcast today.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Randi, it's such an amazing song, What Matters. And there's nothing political in that song right there. That's just saying, what to me, it's saying, no matter how different we are, no matter how far left or right or whatever, black and white and whatever, that there is something that we share in common, right? And if we could concentrate and only come together on what we have in common,
right.
Does that other stuff matter?
Right.
No, what matters is that we're all loved, right?
Yes, and I know that that's exactly where my heart and my intention was when I was writing it, and I know that for a couple reasons. I was really young, and so I don't know that I had any subtext in my writing. I wrote it really quickly, and I just wrote the idea that, you know, we breathe the same air, we love the same way, we see someone through our eyes, we want someone looking back at us with love, we want to be embraced, we want to be held, we have parents, we have that love us, we have friends that love us, and that is ultimately what the song was about. That's why I titled it quickly. It was What Matters. I felt like that was what I was trying to say, and I still think that it's an important message today, and it does feel like in some ways we're moving very far apart from that, and I don't know why. That's a whole other podcast, right? We could spend 5 hours trying to figure that out, and I'm not sure that's my job to figure that out. I think my job is to just keep singing the truth that I sing about, and not that it's a job. It's it's just
it's a passion.
It's a passion, and I'm sad that that people would even hear those lyrics and think anything other than love coming out of them. But you never know.
Absolutely. Now, 25 years later, that song is coming back.
It is.
And you've got a big show. Now, I will say this again, we're taping in early October. Yeah. We're not releasing until November the 8th. But this coming weekend, you're back in New York City,
October
right?
8th. Yeah, we're doing a beautiful show on the stage at the Cutting Room, New York City, which is the same stage that I filmed the original music video for What Matters.
Which is out there. You can find it,
Yes,
right?
you can find it on YouTube. It's grainy. It's been a minute. We've really come a long way with our phones, you know. That was a full production, and man, when you look at it now. Wow. But it's still a very beautiful video, and it was done on the stage at the Cutting Room. So we came back to the same place, and we are doing a benefit concert. I've done several over the years. This is a very special one. We're looking back at 25 years.
Wow.
We have some pretty phenomenal guests joining us. We have Broadway and cabaret artists from New York City. Natalie Douglas and Brian Nash will be joining us. We have Jan Klaus, who is a international pop star. He's joining us. Wow. Josh Zuckerman, who has, he's a singer-songwriter from the area, and he's phenomenal. He's done things for us before for the foundation. We have some special guests. We have some actors that are going to be reading some things. There's been lots of literature written about Matt. There have been fictional books and poems, collections of poems. There's, of course, the Laramie Project, the play based on the passing of Matthew. We found out today confirmation that my friend Romaine, who is actually, she's one of the characters in the Laramie
movie.
Project.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Romaine will actually be at the show, and she's going to read a passage from the Laramie Project. Yeah, it'll be pretty fantastic. Andrew, my husband Andrew's an actor. He's going to be reading some things, and Leni Rideout, who is a wonderful Broadway actress, will be doing some readings. There've so many things over the years have been collected. Judy Shepard has a book out about her son, so people will do some readings, and then the performers will sing. I'll do a few songs, and of course I'll confident that I'll close the evening with What Matters. And 100% of the proceeds will go to the foundation. So every dollar from the ticket sales, and there'll be ways to donate. And people are asking me, it's a look back at Matthew's life, his legacy, and then I like to say a look forward, So the night will be about healing and about remembering and about paying respect, but also just coming together in a space to sing about, the power of good. And the artists, all the artists that, they're friends of mine and they're people that I deeply respect, but the singers also themselves all do work for social justice. So I thought it was a good group to get together for this moment. So that's Sunday.
Now, if people are listening to this and maybe touched by this story and they want to donate to the foundation, what do you suggest they do?
MatthwSheparard.org. They work tirelessly. They have so many programs. A lot of people say, what are they doing? And there's just lots of things that they do and that they work for. And, the thing that people know is that Judy and Dennis are out there speaking about Mount tirelessly. And it's curious to people that they would still do it, but there's a reason that they still talk about their son, is because there's still a lot of work to be done. And for me, it's, trying to combat things that are happening, whether it's in laws that are being passed that are very anti-LGBTQIA, or if it's just sort of like trying to have safe spaces in schools, or whether it's just telling their story so that people can identify. That's part of it, right? Is that if you are talking about it, then it's not something taboo. It's not something that you don't know about. You can't claim ignorance if you're hearing from a family that lost their son and that loved their son deeply. Then what's happening is you're also connecting, right? You're connecting the dots, and then the story becomes real, and then the people become real, and then it all makes so much more sense to you, and it seems it's so human when you put a face on everything, And so that's what they're doing. So they have great programs. They support other programs. They support so many things. So that's MatthwSheparard.org. And
something good that came from the tragedy.
Something good, a lot of work.
Now you're re-recording this song.
Well, yes. So the song has had a very interesting journey. So it was recorded, like I said, as a little independent single. We sold it out of the trunk of my car. And I make the joke all the time, but it's true. I used to say my distribution company was Honda Civic, because that's where we sold it. It had no major label behind it, but it's true. And we raised a good amount of money for the foundation doing that. And then the song was turned into a choral piece. Kevin Robison did a gorgeous choral version of it for male voices, for female voices, and for mixed choirs.
All over the world,
yes,
right?
It's been performed all over the world. And
awesome.
It's really neat. I'm doing a bunch of archiving now coming up on the 25 years. So I was just looking at the program from Carnegie Hall when the Gay Men's Chorus of New York performed the song, and I got to go and sit in the opera box and watch them do the song. It was pretty remarkable, and it's amazing to hear other voices sing those words,
I bet.
But it's also very obvious to me that I was thinking of other voices, because when the narrative in the song and the lyrics was, you walked in, with 10,000 tongues to scream. And I've always felt that after that line, it's as if, we're saying that it's for many, many people to sing this. This is the song of many, many people that feel, that they are not included, not loved in a certain way, not, othered. I like the word othered because I think it really explains.
Othered.
Yes, othered.
Wow.
So when Kevin Robison, created this beautiful choral piece, that's when all the voices come in, and I've had the great pleasure of singing it with lots of choirs, and then these voices, those are the other voices singing, that this is about love and forgiveness and caring and coming together and healing of a world, right? Okay, so it's had that life, and then I recorded it again a few years later in New York City, and then I've done a live version of it. But if you think about it, at the time, we didn't have like streaming services. So you
No.
literally had to go out and buy a CD, right?
You did.
There's your CD and you put it in and you listen to it. And that's how we were able to raise money. And so when it was when we were able to stream things, I would say no. I would say no a lot of times because my thought was, if I give the music away for free, no one's going to buy the single and then the money won't go to the Matthw Sheparard Foundation. So,
Right.
well, looking back all those years, I realized that if you go on Spotify right now, maybe not now when this podcast, but as of today, October,
Or go, Alexa. I won't say that.
there is no version of What Matters other than a live version that I have on a CD many, many years ago that was, God bless, recorded at a coffee house with a slightly out of tune piano. And it is a lovely version and I love it. But I thought, okay, I think maybe it's time to revisit What Matters. So what I did was I thought on it and I prayed on it and I said for the 25th anniversary, I'm going to do a new recording of What Matters. So I went into the studio here in Nashville, Tennessee at Omni Sound with some of my dear friends that had worked on some music with me before. Some of my dearest friends and musicians played on the CD, did the musical track for the song. I had an engineer that I love, Roy Rositas. I had Dean Miller helping me with it, gathering. I had Michael Spriggs as my MD. And so then we, all loving, beautiful people that wanted to put forward this message and really believed in the project. And we're all heart-centered people there for the right reasons. And then I said, okay. So I sang the track and I was thrilled with it. And I thought, you know what would be really neat is if I could invite my friends to sing on it with me. So I started making some calls and boy, did I get some incredible people.
Did you?
I sure did. We have Eve and Kim, the beautiful Three of Hearts, are singing on that track. I won't be able to say everyone that's on it. I know I'll forget some people, but I was able to get Brian Ruby, who is singing on the track with me. Yes,
been on
proud to
this
be in baseball. I
podcast.
know that.
Neat
Proud
guy.
to be in baseball.
Love him.
Jason
Yeah.
and DeMarco, they're friends of mine, an incredible singing duo, wonderful human beings. And then the list just goes on. There are artists, a couple artists from San Diego that have been singing the song with me for close to 2 decades. Noah Heldman is
Noah's
participating.
a great
Noah's a
guy.
wonderful guy. He's on there. We've got Dave
Such a
Egger. Dave Egger doing some cello. We have Larry Mitchell phoning in his guitars from Australia. I mean, so
Next time
many
Larry
people.
Mitchell's in town, we're
You
going to
got
put
to
him
get
on this
him.
podcast.
Isn't he phenomenal?
Right?
He's
Oh,
quite phenomenal
what a
and
nice
instrumental.
guy.
He did the
Grammy Award winner.
Grammy Award winner, and he actually produced the second version of this song, which
Did he?
is very hard to find. But yes, it's because there are versions out there.
You know,
but
I heard today, I said, if I say it too loud, she'll start playing. Alexa, play
Right,
Driscoll
right.
music. And like the third song in, you're doing Amazing Grace.
yes, and it's a live version. That's what you're
That's the
listening.
live
That's
version.
the only streaming version. Isn't that
And
crazy?
it goes right into.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. So this new version is quite beautiful. The singers on it are lovely. It's just, and there's lots of people, lots of phenomenal people on it.
Now it's streaming out there right now.
And no, it's not. It comes out probably in about 2 weeks. So by the time this podcast is out, people will be able to get it. Yeah, and it'll be on all the platforms. And it was just important to me because I know we can no longer have it be the same type of a, like indie sort of CD that people are purchasing. But my thought was that the place that we are in the world as, a country, as humans, I just thought it was important to get the message back out there. And I thought, what better way to do it than by having a lot of my friends sing on it with me and sort of move it forward. So
That's so great, Randy.
Should be beautiful. And it was people. The people that are on it are people who have performed the song with me before. They were people who have done it for special shows or special events, and their part in putting that message forward. I thought, well, come do it not just live with me, but come do it in the studio with me.
I'm going to share that, a link
Please
to it on
do.
our Facebook
Yes,
page
please
so that
do.
people
That
can
would
listen.
be great.
Too,
That would
okay?
be great. Yes.
That's great. And again, if you'd like to donate and help the Matthw Sheparard Foundation.
Thanks so much for
Please
letting
do.
me come in today and talk about this. It's really
Something amazing.
special, and it's a part of my it's a part of my journey that is very special to me, and it's been a blessing and a labor of love, meeting these remarkable people. All of them, everyone who works for the foundation has over the years, many friends I've made, and it's opened my eyes to a lot of things. It's really opened my eyes to the power of good, the power of one person, really committing to something and changing something. We all have things that we can do if we put ourselves out there, and if we all believe in things, and the power of community and the power of using our voice and the power of music. So it's been an important part of my journey, and I just appreciate you asking me to come over and
You're a
chat
remarkable
with you
person,
today.
Randi Driscoll. Thank you so much for all you do. You know, in the past month or so on the show, we've been talking about success and how you define success and what success is for you. And if you've been listening, you know, we've been saying, you know, don't judge yourself by other people's success. What does success mean to you? And are you living it? Are you enjoying the journey toward that? And I think the whole story that we just heard defines success for you. Look at that. I mean, what you've done, it's absolutely amazing. You've got to be proud of that. You've got to feel successful.
Very proud of it, and I'm very proud of the people that I meet along the way, like I said, you know, and then I'm even more touched when someone like Dave Linehan wants to call me up and talk about it. Really, truly, I appreciate it very
Absolutely
much.
Amazing story. Now you had a record come out. I'm gonna get off that topic for a little bit. You had a record come out, and I was at the CD release party.
Yes,
it was at the Cambria. We had such a wonderful time.
We had a great time. There was cake. It was really
There was
fun.
cake. We had cake, and we were taking pictures.
It was really fun.
And stuff. Yeah, it was great. It was Upside Right. Is your latest album, right?
Yes, it is. Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
out there.
It's still out there, and we just released a lyric video that Calvin West did for me. We just released it, Sister Grief, in September.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it felt like the right time to release it. I had released, you know, a project and not necessarily all of the singles. I'd done 2 singles before, The Year That We Stayed Home, Happier in Heaven, and then the CD was released, and so then I released the Ballad of Bunny and Frog, and then I waited a bit, and I had this song Sister Grief, which meant a great deal to me, and it's about the 7 stages of grief. So I released the lyric video to that. It's quite cool.
I love lyric videos.
I do too, and he did such a great job. He just captured it in like a moment. I didn't give him any direction. I just let him hear the song, and it's very, you know, it's piano and cello, and there it was. And so that's out right now, and it's kind of interesting because I released it in September because that was, you know, my mom's birthday was in September, my grandmother's birthday was in September, and they were 2 women that, you know, I loved dearly and shaped everything about me. Yeah. And the song is about grief and how it's really a nasty bugger. You know, grief is tricky. It comes in, it woos you, it, you know, kisses you and tells you everything's fine, and it gives you all these wonderful memories, and then it slaps you in the face and it wakes you up, and it's
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, and
it's
so that's how I had this idea of writing the song Sister
Well, now we
Grief.
got to hear it.
Yeah.
We got to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I play it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Sister Grief.
I haven't played this in a minute. No, yeah. Happy to.
In like a whisper in the middle of the night, she's a little out of my sight, but I let her in. Sweet and familiar when she dries my tears, tells me things I want to hear, but she ain't my friend. Where you been hiding, Sister Grief? Wrapped like a blanket in my memories, all the things I want to see, she shows them all to me. And just when I get to my favorite part of the dream, she yanks it away from me. I think she just likes to watch me bleed. Where you been hiding, Sister Grief? This only child ain't getting no peace. Where you been hiding, Sister Grief? I beg, I bargain for you to leave. 'Cause when you fight, you don't fight fair. You got the ghosts on your side, they don't care. I thought that we could call a truce, but there's just no getting used to you. not to trust her many moons ago, 'cause she puts on one hell of a show. Then she wins me back, runs me round in circles, makes me lose my mind. She ain't the leaving kind, any fool can see that. Where you been hiding, Sister Grief? This lonely child, she gets no peace. Where you been hiding, Sister Grief? I beg, I bargain for you to leave. 'Cause when you fight, you don't fight fair. You got the ghosts on your side. They don't care. They don't care. Where you been hiding, Sister Grief?
She's got this way of disguising herself, doesn't she? Yeah, making you believe everything's okay. It's a great song. Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that's exactly what she does. That's exactly what she does.
Do you want to share what grief you were going through at the time? Was it your mom?
So yeah, it's crazy. So yes, and this idea that you're fine. Yeah. And you feel like you're fine, and then all of a sudden it hits you, and you have a memory that feels good. A lot of people have memories and dreams, right, that come to you, and in a dream things seem okay, and it's really funny. So I released it in September, partially because it was my mom and my Nana's birthday, and I was very close to both of them. Yeah. My grandmother essentially raised me, and my mom was there too, but we were just close, strong women.
Yeah.
And my dad was there too, but but what was really strange was I released it. And about a week later, my little fur baby passed away, which, if you've not loved an animal and not had an animal that was your soul, person, fur thing, then you might not get this. But for those of us that do love our fur babies, like they're part of our family, it's crazy. And I thought, it really, and then I was right back in that place of grief, right back where, you have moments where you're remembering happy things and it feels okay to think about it. But the next time you try to think about it, it just knocks you down. And I was really in the bargaining stage. For a long time, I was really in this place of like, could I have done more? And I think that we do that whether it's with a human loss, whether it's with not even just final loss, but any kind of loss, a separation, a relationship loss. You go through the stages of is this something I could have changed the outcome of? Then you're in denial. You're not believing it. Then you're very angry. I've sat in anger over things for a long time,
Me too.
And so that was the idea behind that song. And
Amazing song. Yeah. I think now is a good time to tell the story how Nashville and I fell in love with Randi Driscoll. It was a rainy night, and it was in February. Yes. And there were these songwriter rounds I used to go to every Sunday night at a little joint called Betty Lou's. And it was so much fun. We had hit writers that would come by, like Sam Tate and Keith Burns, who was part of Trick Pony. And they just hang out, and we'd swap songs, and we just have a blast. Yeah. And they had an idea to do a contest. And this contest in February, of course, being around Valentine's Day, was a love song contest. So we were doing love songs. And out of the rain comes Randi Driscoll and her husband, handsome guy named Andrew. And they come in, and very nice. We talked for a little while, and she signs up to play. She got her piano out in the car, and she brings it in. And she's like, my mom's name was Betty Lou. Yeah. But I don't really have a love song. But I do have this song that's really, I guess it is kind of a love song.
That's exactly what you tell the story better than I do. That is exactly what happened. Yeah.
She gets up there, and on this album, Right Side Up, this song is on here. An amazing video too, and it's just an amazing story. Or is it? Is it on?
It is.
It is on. Okay, it is.
It was the first single. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she sings this song, and you can hear a pin drop. And not only that, you can hear people's jaws drop because it's an amazing song. Happy Hour in Heaven. I'm not crying from my mother's loss because she's with my dad now, and they're celebrating at this honky tonk in heaven, and they're singing and they're dancing, and we're all like, oh no, we're We're holding each other and we're crying. And you won hands down. And it's never been the same, this town, since that day.
You're very sweet. Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy thing. I could not believe that there was a bar named Betty Lou's. I could not believe we could get a sitter that night. I could not believe how it was raining. Andrew and I went out, and we just really were going to go for a drink. We didn't exactly know. I knew it was a writer's night, and I knew that they did that there, but I wasn't sure what we were walking into, and I certainly didn't know that it was a contest. I don't, and Will walking around, and
Will Dakota,
right, with the thing, and he was done signing up, and he said, I said, are you doing the sign-ups? And he said, yeah, and I said, maybe I'll sign up. He said, okay, well, I'm closing it right now. I'll put you down. And then I said, all right, I'm going to play piano. And he comes back over and he goes, oh, yeah, but we don't have a piano here. I looked around. I'm like, no kidding. No, it's a very small space, And we always, like you saw today, we always have the keyboard in the car. So I was like, okay, we have one. Yeah. And I did get up there, and I didn't know it was going to sort of play out that way. But just standing on that stage in that moment, I thought there is no better place to sing this song than Betty Lou's. And, and the rest is history. And then that we went back.
You talk about angels, man? Let me tell you.
No, this is what I'm telling you today, is that I truly believe that it is all that there's somebody else orchestrating all of it. I have deep faith, and I truly believe that, and I pray on all these things, and I do believe that. And so I remember singing the song, and what's crazy about it is I met so many people that I love that evening that have become friends, lifelong friends, and you're one of them. I mean, we developed a friendship that night, and here we are, years later. And you know the story too, that when we decided to film the video, we filmed that video for Happy Hour in Heaven at Betty Lou's. And do you remember the strange coincidence about the date we filmed it on?
Was it the day? It was the day
It was my mom's birthday.
Your mom's birthday, that's right.
Which was a complete coincidence, September 22nd. We didn't mean for it to be.
How about that?
But I flew out my dear friend Ryan Forbes to direct the film, and I knew I wanted the video to be Ryan, because I just knew that he would do it correctly, he would light it correctly, and he knew my mom really well. So I thought this is going to be, he loved Betty Lou, okay. So I bring him, and we're looking at him, he's very, very busy, and he's all over the world doing different shoots, and so he just said, listen, if you want it done, the only weekend I can do it is this weekend. And I said, you understand that that's Betty Lou's birthday, but so okay, so we did, and so we filmed it. Yeah, it was really
that's a great story. Yeah. How I'd forgotten that on her birthday. Yeah. I encourage you to listen to that song. Find that video; it's absolutely incredible. It's on YouTube. You can find it. Happy Hour in Heaven, Randi Driscoll. But before we go, I know you've been running a lot of new good music, because every now and then at Cambria, and I try not to miss those. I love them twice a month.
So wonderful.
You'll march out a new song, and you'll just play, and we're like, new Randi Driscoll. So play us something new to take us out, and thank you so much for coming over on such short notice and being a part of this podcast again.
You're pretty wonderful. Okay, let me see what I can come on up with here.
Yeah, I put you on the spot. I always do that. That's the thing I love to do on this show. I'm really. Okay. Randi Driscoll, our guest. You're listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. By the way, if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe. That helps us. And we're approaching, you know what? We're over 400,000 streams now. So by the time this publishes, we're probably around 450,000 streams going toward that 500,000. And that's all thanks to you. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do a brand new song. I mean, it's real new. So here we go. Right on this podcast here.
All right.
I had a friend tell me that they were feeling very unlovable, and I thought that's a we talk about love, you know that we writers sing about love, we're always talking about love, and I thought that's a heartbreaking place to be, and I wouldn't want anyone to feel that way, and no matter what, I feel like all of us are loved. I feel like all of us are capable of being loved, whether we know we're being loved or not, whether we're being loved by someone here or someone on another plane. So
maybe I'm young, maybe I'm just naive. Maybe I'm lost, maybe I'm out of reach. Maybe I'm proud, maybe I'm out of touch. Maybe I'm mad, maybe I talk too much. You love me anyway. You love me anyway. Maybe I'm scared, maybe I lost my nerve. Maybe I'm stuck, maybe I never learned. Maybe I'm bruised, maybe I'm hard to hold. Maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm getting old. But you love me anyway. You love me anyway. And when all the waves pull me into the storm, I'll kick and I'll breathe like you taught me before. I'll steady my gaze in my eyes on the shore, and there you'll be calling me home. Maybe I'm sad, maybe I'm built this way. Maybe I lie in vain. Maybe I'm fine, then again, maybe not. Maybe I'm me, maybe it's all I've got. But you love me anyway. You love me anyway. You love me. You love me anyway.
Randi Driscoll. Randi, thank you again. And much success this weekend, your big show in New York City for the Matthw Sheparard Foundation.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, friend. It was so great to catch up. Love you. See
We
you
love
soon.
you too. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.